Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have my April 2022 favorites for you guys. But as you can see behind me, I have quite a few products to show you guys. I do have a few products that are failure products. They didn't work for me. So I will be showing you those at the end. So before we get started, if you're new here, I would love for you to join my channel by hitting that subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell so you'll know when I put out new content. Let's go ahead and just get started. All right guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Like I said, there's a lot of product behind me. So I'm going to try to go through this very quickly because if I don't, it's going to be a super long video. So let's go ahead and get started with foundation. So the first foundation I want to show you is the Estée Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Foundation. So I have mine in the shade 4W1. I used to wear this foundation like all the time back in the day, and I started to see that it was a little bit drying, a little bit heavy on my skin. So I stopped wearing it. Well, back then I really didn't have like a skincare routine. So I went ahead and tried it again because now of course I have a huge skincare routine. I'm like really adamant about taking care of my skin. So I went ahead and repurchased and I'm loving this. This is a foundation that really lasts on the skin. It doesn't look flat. It looks so like seamless. And not only that, it holds up in like warm weather. It just looks really nice and flawless on the skin. But I tried it again. It's so good. I'm really enjoying this. Another foundation I want to mention to you guys is a foundation that I've actually mentioned probably several times throughout filming other videos. I actually picked this up during the Sephora sale, and it is the Gucci foundation. This is more of like a serum type foundation. I have to shake it up really well before I actually apply it. Even though it's liquidy, it has some really nice coverage. It doesn't have like a full coverage look to it, but it has like a medium coverage. I've actually worn this for like over 8 hours and I really do love it on the skin. Now I do use it with the Gucci matte primer. This has been one of my favorite primers that I've been using here lately. This keeps me really nice and matte. And because this is like a serum, these two really work very well together. I've really been enjoying this foundation. It just looks so beautiful on the skin. I think I even might have applied it on my skin in some videos that I've done here lately. Check out my recent videos. I'm sure that I used this maybe once or twice. But yeah, this is such a good foundation. So glad I could pick it up during the sale at a discounted price. So the next product I want to show you is really not a foundation. It's a skin tint. And it's the IT Cosmetics CC Nude Glow Color Correcting Medium Coverage Skin Tint. So this is what the product looks like. I've done a video using this. I have it on my skin today. I think it has a beautiful finish. Now I wouldn't say it's like total medium coverage. I think it's more of a light to medium coverage, but I do cover up like my melasma or any skin imperfections. I do cover them up with my Tarte Shape Tape. So that's what I use with this product. I do love the fact that it does have SPF 40 in it, but again, I still use an SPF even though this has the SPF 40, but I still like the fact that it has that because I can use this all summer long. Now it is a kind of glowy serum. It does look a little dewy, but once I powder up, as you can see, it's not dewy at all. Now I do have like a slight glow on my forehead. I do have a slight glow on my skin, but it's not something that's too over glowy. You know what I mean? So really loving this. If you're kind of weary about trying the IT Cosmetics foundations, you know, there's the one that's matte, the one that's glowy. Those really did not work for me. I honestly did not like the way they felt on the skin. They were a little bit heavy for me and the color was always off. But this one is more of a lighter version of that. And the color of the tints are a lot better than the foundation itself. I got the shade Natural Tan if you're wondering, but yeah, it's been such a good product for my skin. So I am going to mention some powders. Two of them, you guys have heard me talk about them pretty much all month. They're the Givenchy Prism Libre powders. Now I have one in Rose Voila and then the other one is in Mouseline, Acidulee. I don't know how to pronounce that, but either way, it's the one for medium skin and the one for more of like light fair skin. The reason I got this one is to actually set my under eyes, and then I use this one to actually set my foundation. So yeah, I've really been loving both of them because of my age. I'm not a person that likes to bake. I have a lot of fine lines. My skin's a lot more mature, so I don't like to bake. I just feel like it makes my skin look drying. But with these powders, I feel like I can bake and it looks beautiful. The other day I baked right here on my jawline and it looks so beautiful after I let it bake for maybe a minute to 2 minutes. It just looked really beautiful. I've just not been one that likes to bake, but with these, They're so good, guys. They're so finely milled, and I think that's why the baking doesn't look like drying on my skin. Another powder that I am in love with is the Gucci powder. This is in the matte natural finish. And so I got the shade 7 and 10. 7 is a lighter version of this, and that I would only use maybe during the winter months. I ended up getting 10 because I felt like 10 is like the perfect shade for like my summer skin, you know, when I'm a little more tan. And I did use it today, and I think it's like the perfect shade for me. I love the consistency of this. I love how creamy it is. I love that when I set my skin, it doesn't look splotchy. It sets it beautifully. Now I will say it doesn't have a lot of pigmentation like my Patrick Star One Size powder. It doesn't have as much pigmentation as that one. So yeah, I would say this one's a little less pigmented, but it still has a beautiful finish. So if you're looking for something a little more natural, but not too natural where you can't even see it, I would definitely try this. Now, I did get this during the sale, so I got the discount. I don't know that I would purchase it without the discount because the discount really takes off a lot. So yeah, so if I purchase this powder again, it's gonna be during the Sephora sale because this powder, the Gucci foundation, the Gucci matte primer, all of that is super expensive. And also the Prism Libre, those are expensive as well. But when I can get a discount, I'm definitely gonna repurchase a lot of the products that you see here because that's the best time to get those products is when they're discounted. Like I said, it's a beautiful, beautiful powder on the skin. I have it on today and I love it. Okay, so two concealers that I've been loving. One is the Conceal the Deal by Lawless. Now I did get a different shade in this and I'm so glad I did because the one I had before was super, super light, but this one looks so good on my under eyes. I love the formulation. It's not too thick, but it's not too thin. Kind of got this like medium type of consistency. Also, the wand is a bit different. You see how flat it is? It almost kind of looks like a brush and feels like a brush, but it's so nice because it just feels like it glides onto the under eyes. That's what it looks like, and it's very creamy. It does have a little bit of like, I would say like matte feel to it, but it looks super smooth under the eyes and it sets really well with powder. I did go to a darker shade. All the shades of everything I'm showing you today are going to be listed down below, but yeah, I really am enjoying this Lawless concealer. Another concealer that I really ended up liking is the Tarte Power Flex Concealer. I ended up going back and getting a darker shade because I needed it to be just a tad bit darker. And this one's more of like a neutral tone. It doesn't have like any warmth to it, any coolness. It's just a neutral tone shade. So yeah, this is what it looks like. I love the way this goes on the under eyes. I do have it on today. This one also sets very well with powder and it is long lasting. It doesn't fade under my eyes. It also has like that wand that the Tarte Shape Tape has, which I do love. I love that I can just kind of dot here and dot there and then I'm done. I do feel like it's called Power Flex for a reason. I feel like when you talk and you smile and you have this movement that a lot of times your concealer will crease, but with this one it feels like it just kind of moves with your skin. And like I said, I do have it on today. Yeah, I really have been loving it. So a finishing spray, setting spray, refresher spray that I've tried here lately and that I've really been liking is the Item Spray. This is a really nice spray for the skin. I love to spray my face prior to putting any kind of primer because it feels like it refreshes and hydrates the skin. Then I actually like to set my makeup with the spray. I feel like when I spray my skin with this, it has a nice mister. It feels hydrating, but not like dewy. What it does is just kind of like melds everything together. That's how I feel this spray works. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray some because I didn't put any on today. And I can spray that many times and it doesn't feel like I've drenched my face. It has like this refreshing scent. It's very, very light. It's not overwhelming or anything like that. So I do like that about it. Again, it is the Item One Hit Spray. It's a really nice one. And this is supposed to be like a clean brand too. Either way, it's a good product. So speaking of the Item brand, I've really been enjoying the Item blushes. I do have I'm Crushin' on today. I'm Crushin' is this very beautiful like bright, kind of corally, berry. I mean, there's just a whole mixture of shades in there. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's super bright. It's on my cheeks. I love it. These are so like different. When you touch them, they feel creamy, but when you put them on your skin, it feels like a powder. It's super different, but I do love them. I think these are some of the best blushes that I've found here recently. Besides like my cream blushes, these powder blushes are like the best that I've found here lately, because I just feel like these are easily blendable, they're pigmented, and they just stay on the skin. They don't fade, which I love. I can't stand it when I put a blush on and then by the third or fourth hour, the blush is like gone. These are really pigmented and they stay all day. So yeah, so I wanted to mention these for sure. I love the Item brand. I've only tried like their mascara, the blushes, and then that spray. I don't think I've tried anything else, and all of those products worked well for me. So anyway, I want to go ahead and show you the other ones that I got. I think I even showed you in my haul, but this is called Admit It. I haven't tried this one yet, but this one is a beautiful, like kind of dark berry tone. And then the one that I've really been wearing a lot too is called It's Verified. And the reason being is because this is such a neutral shade. You can wear this shade with pretty much anything. So I've been using this one a lot here lately too. The next blush that I want to talk about is a blush that really impressed me. I wasn't expecting them to look the way they looked on my skin, and now I wish they would come out with more shades. I think they only have 3, and I only have 2 here because I think the third one is like a pink or a light pink shade, and I don't feel like I would actually wear that or that it would show up on me. So I ended up just getting these 2, and they're the Bare Minerals Gen Nude Blonzers. So this is a blush and a bronzer. Now, I don't see how this could really be a bronzer because the shades are really like, they're not really bronzy, they're just really peachy, and this one's kind of coppery. I don't see the bronzing part of it. What I do see is that you could wear them on top of bronzer and they're gonna look beautiful. I've used both of these and they both look gorgeous on the skin. But this is Kiss of Copper. Look how pretty that is. This one's called Kiss of Rose, and look at that one. Oh my gosh, these are so pretty. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't tried these, you guys need these for the summer. Okay, so the bottom one is Kiss of Copper and the top one is Kiss of Rose. They kind of look the same in the pan, but they're not. You can see that there's 2 totally different shades. But if you'll notice close up, there is some sheen to those blushes. To me, they look more like a blush with like a sheen highlight in it. They don't really look like a bronzer and a blush to me. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think they look like bronzy? I just don't see it. I don't see the bronzer, but I do see like the sheen, the glow, and the beautiful pigmentation. These are so easy to apply. They glide on the skin like butter. I mean, they just kind of melt into everything. So I want to talk about these really quickly as well. These are the Sephora liquid eyeshadows. I have 5 shades here. All the shades that I have are, I mean, phenomenal. These are so beautiful on the eye. They glide on the eye. They're easy to blend on the eye. Let's see, I've worn 1, 2, I've worn all 4 of these. I haven't worn this one, the dark one yet, but I've worn all 4 of these, and I love wearing them alone. I love wearing them on top of my lid with a transition shade and maybe like deepen up the corner too with another shade. I love them both ways. These really stand out on your eyes. When you put them on, they're not like thin. You know, like sometimes when you put on some liquid eyeshadows like these, they'll go on, but they'll be like super thin where you can't even tell that they're there. These are not like that. They are very pigmented. What I do is I like to take it and I like to put it on the back of my hand, and then what I like to do is go in with a brush, mix it up, and then go on the eyelid. They're so affordable and they're long lasting on the eye. I just really have been loving them. I think there's some really good liquid eyeshadows. 2 other products that I have been loving from Sephora for the eyes are these metal, what are these called? These are called the Colorful Metal Effect shadows. So I have 2 here. Now, I did have a subscriber tell me that you really can't use a brush with these, that you're gonna have to use your finger because the brush wouldn't pick up the product. I did find that, and I tried several brushes, I did find that my MAC, I think it's my MAC 242, it's a synthetic brush, it actually picked up some of the product and actually applied it very well. I think if you want like a little bit bolder of a look, then definitely go in with your finger. But for me, the brush works really well. But like I said, I had to look through brushes, test certain brushes to see if it would work with this product. I don't know what it is. I think it's the formula. The formula is super creamy. This is one of the shades that I've been loving. And this one I've worn all over my lid. I've also worn the other one all over my lid. So the top one is more of a bronze shade and the bottom one is more of a taupe. But I love both of them. I've worn both of them by themselves. I haven't really needed to use like a transition shade. Basically what I like to do with these and these type of products is I like to apply it on my lid, and then whatever's left on the brush, I like to go ahead and blend it right here in my crease and kind of bring it up. And I just love the way they look. They just look so pretty on the eye. I'm quickly gonna mention my Merit lipsticks. I recently did a video where I tried every shade on for you. There's something about these lipsticks that is so different to me. I think it's the fact that a lot of them are like flesh tone. You know, they're not super bright, they're not super nude, they're just like right in the middle, right in the center. And every shade just looks so pretty on every skin tone. I just love the way they look and I love the feel of them. They're very, very creamy, very easy to apply on the lips. They don't tug the lips. They make your lips feel really nice and supple. They make them feel as if you have like some hydration to them. The shades of these lipsticks are what gets me. It's not just the formula. It is the look of these shades in here. I love that I can just have a really natural makeup look like I do today. And I love being able to apply one of these to my lips, and it just makes my lips stand out, but in a very subtle way, if that makes any sense. I wanted to mention them, even though I've used them in a recent video, I still wanted to mention them. Another product I've been using is the Sephora Primer. It's the eye primer. This has been really nice on my lids. It allows the shadow to adhere to the eyelid. It helps my shadows last. It just does its job. It really does. This is a very affordable product. I had never tried their Sephora eye primer. I always try like their face primers or their blushes or bronzers, stuff like that, but I had never given this a chance, and I'm so glad I did. I've really been liking it. I think I've used this like in every video that I've done here recently. It's just been such a good eye primer and so easy to use too, guys, because it has this little wand and I just put it on my eyelids and then I just kind of press it in with my finger. It does its job. It does what it's supposed to do. I do want to mention another blush that I've been loving. This is more of like a liquid blush. This is by KAJA. So I have 3 shades here. They did have 4. The 4th one I did not buy because it was, again, a light pink and I figured it wouldn't show up. So I ended up getting the other 3 shades, and guys, I am digging these. They're so good. They kind of remind me, honestly, of the Profusion ones. The Profusion ones are so beautiful on the cheeks. Now, the consistency is different. Profusion's a little more liquidy. These are more of like a mousse type of product. They're actually called Whipped Dream blushes. The one I have on today is more of like a corally type shade, and I think it's beautiful. It goes on kind of matte, and I think it goes on matte because of the consistency. Like I said, it has a moussey texture, so that's it right there. And I'll show you guys. When you blend it in, it looks like it's not pigmented, but it is. It really is. Look at my cheeks. Now, granted, I do have the item powder on top, but even so, this is actually underneath, and this is just so beautiful on its own. I really could have just left it by itself, but I wanted to put the item blush on so you guys can kind of see it. But yeah, these are so good. And the one that I have on today is one that I bought later. I didn't buy it during the sale. I bought it after the sale because I love them so much. All right, so we're gonna talk about some bronzers really quickly. One of the bronzers that I have been meaning to mention, and I have not mentioned it, I don't think, in any of my favorite videos, but I've been using it a long time, is the Rare Beauty bronzer. So this one's in the shade Full of Life, and these are super creamy. This one has more of a warmer undertone to it. What I like to do is I like to warm it up on the back of my hand, and then I'll take a sponge or a brush, and then I'll just press it into the skin. I don't have this one on today, but I have been wearing this like crazy because I love the tone of it, and I love how it blends into the skin. I should have mentioned this a long time ago because this is such a great product. What I really like about this too is not only that it's creamy, but that it blends well with foundation and powder. That's what I really love about it, because a lot of times when you put cream products on your skin, it'll break up the foundation or it'll just make it look off. This does not do that. It's just beautiful. So I'm gonna let you know right now, I have 4 more bronzers to show you, but they're all powder bronzers. So the first one is the Terracotta Light Bronzer. This one's by Guerlain. This one I bought during the sale, and this is gorgeous on the cheeks, guys. It is so pretty. I have been using this one like so much. I've actually used it with these other ones and by itself. It is so good. Now these aren't made to be like super pigmented and super like bronzy. They're supposed to be like more of a light version of that. So that is what this looks like. That's it right there. It just goes on my skin so nicely. It has like kind of like a slight sheen to it, which makes it look a little glowy. So I've really been enjoying this one as well. Another one that I'm using for bronzer, but it's not a bronzer, it's just a powder. It's the Micro Smooth Powder. This one's in the shade Toffee. I've been using this as bronzer, and guys, this is like the perfect shade for bronzing my skin. You guys know I love this powder. I have the shade in tan for all over. I also have the shade in beige to put underneath my eyes, which I haven't used it here lately because I've been using the other powders, but I really need to start using it interchangeably because I do love that powder for setting my under eyes. But this is the shade of the Toffee. As you can see, it has a slight sheen to it as well, but it looks so smooth on the skin. I did want to buy the shade Hazelnut because that one's a little bit warmer, but it was all sold out, so I haven't been able to buy it yet. Now this product I'm going to show you is the Dior. This is the Dior Backstage palette. This is the Universal. Now this is the bronzer in here. The rest are highlight. Now I don't use this by itself. I use it on top of the terracotta, or I use it on top of another bronzer like the Sephora bronzer. But I wanted to show it to you because it is a bronzy shade, but it's not like super bronzy. And not only that, it has like this really bronzy glow to it. So it's more of like a topper for me. It's not so much a bronzer for me, you know, to bronze up the entire face. This is it right there. You see, it's a little bit lighter. It has a lot of shine to it. So yeah, I use it more of like a topper. And then these highlighting shades are gorgeous on the skin. They're just, wow. They're just really pretty and they're so buttery soft. All right, so those are the highlights right there. But this whole palette is so good. I'm so glad that I got to pick it up. I would have never thought that I was gonna really like this palette, but I ended up buying one for each of my daughters, and then I bought me one, and I'm really surprised that I like it that much. So the last bronzer I wanna show you is one that I've tried recently. It's the Ambient Hourglass Bronzing Palette. This has Eternal Light, Transcendent Light, and Prismatic Strobe Light. And this is the Volume 2. So there is a Volume 1, which are lighter shades. This one has the darker shades, and this is what I have on my skin today. I have this one here all over the cheeks, and then I kind of went in with the middle one and did like just a little bit of contouring underneath my cheek, and I love the way that looks. This shade right here is more of like that Dior shade where it's a topper. It's not really a bronzer. So yeah, you see how it kind of looks like the Dior shade. It's very light and it has some sheen to it. So yeah, that's something that I would use on top of these bronzers. I really do love this palette, guys. Hourglass has always had really good powders for the skin to where it looks very radiant. It's very lightweight, very finely milled. So when I saw this palette, I knew that I was gonna like the formula because their formula is never drying. It always looks beautiful on the skin. So yeah, super excited that I picked this one up during the sale. I'm gonna mention 2 highlighters. One of them I've already talked about. This is actually the Golden Hour highlight, and this is in Sunrise. I've talked about this before on my channel. Super creamy highlighters, really beautiful. I did end up buying another one, but it was too dark, so I had to take it back. But this one, this is right up my alley. Another highlighter I want to mention is the Rose Gold Glow by Tarte. That's what I have on my cheeks today. I love the finish of this, and not only that, I love the shade. It's supposed to be rose gold, but it's really not. It doesn't lean on the pink side, it leans more on the gold side. So that's what that looks like right there. I swatched it, and it's pretty intense as a swatch. blush, but on the skin it has just like this beautiful sheen. It just looks so pretty. I'm gonna go through these lipsticks really quickly. The Anastasia lipstick, I have it on today. I was super impressed by this formula because the last lipstick line that she had was a little bit drying, but this is very creamy. I do have this on the center of my lips today, and I think the shade is called Haze. It's just really pretty. I don't think I'm gonna buy any more, and it's not because I don't like them. It's just because I have other lipsticks that I really love from other brands. So yeah, it's beautiful on the lips. It's a perfect shade of nude, just really pretty. It's right there. It kind of has that MAC lipstick scent to it. A lip plumper that I've been loving is the one by Lawless. I also have been loving the one by Tarte. Both of these are really good. I will say that this one has a little bit thicker consistency. This one's lighter, but this does have kind of like a goopy consistency when I put it on, but it really does not bother me. It doesn't bother me that it goes on a little goopy. It's still really beautiful. So I have one of these on today. The one I have on is peachy beige. I do have another one that leans more on the peach side. I only have two of these. And then these are the lip fillers by Lawless. I've been loving both of these. I put them over lipstick. I put them under lipstick. I put them with lip liner and no lipstick. They both don't like make my lips super full, but I will say that they smooth out like my lip lines. They make my lips look a little bit more, like a little more juicy. And so yeah, I've really been enjoying the lip plumpers. I think these are some of the best right now that I've found, besides the Patrick Ta, because the Patrick Ta ones are right up my alley as well. And then I have three palettes I want to mention. The first one is the Fenty Beauty palette. This is a Sunstalker palette, and I'm not going to go into too much detail. I did put a video out where I used this palette because I was doing like this monotone look, and I love the way the look came out. These are perfect as shadows. They're perfect as bronzer. They're perfect for contouring. It's just a really nice formulated product. I've used this quite a bit since I've gotten it. It's just such a good palette. It's like one of those one and done palettes where you can do your eyes, your bronzer, a highlight, because these are shimmer up here. And you could even probably get away with doing one of these like darker shades as a blush because they're not like super dark. Yeah, you could probably use one of these shades here as a blush. If you guys haven't tried it, I would definitely check it out. Another product that was so good is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2 palette. I have it right here. I have used it already several times, and I have to say, every time I've done an eye look with this, it comes out beautiful. Every single eye look. I loved his palette before. I'm loving this one. I just think the formula is so good, and I love the color scheme too. Everything goes with everything in this palette. So a palette that I recently purchased at Target is the Sigma Ivy eyeshadow palette. Guys, this palette, I was in shock when I wore this palette because I could not believe how gorgeous these shadows went on the eye. I could not believe how beautiful the pigmentation was. I couldn't believe how well it blended. These shadows just stood out. I couldn't believe it. I don't know why. I've never tried a Sigma palette. I love this formula. I am just super impressed with this palette. I couldn't wait to tell you guys about it. One lipstick I want to mention is this one by Chanel. This is one of those lipsticks that when you put it on, the bottom is the pigment and the top has a gloss. And when I tell you that I wore this and this sucker did not come off, I literally had to use like a light scrub to scrub it off my lips because it did not come off. So I was super impressed with this. I will say that I purchased this in the past. When I went to the Chanel store, I talked to one of the guys that was there that was in the beauty area, and he told me that they reformulated this. He said it's so much better. It doesn't dry out your lips. It lasts all day. It lasts throughout drinking and eating, and he was totally right. This stuff is amazing. We're gonna go ahead and talk about these pencils really quickly before we get into skincare. A couple of these lip pencils I already talked about because I did a full face of Charlotte Tilbury products, the ones that I've loved and the new ones that I tried. And the two that I mentioned were Hot Gossip and Love Trap. These are ones that I just recently picked up, and I have been loving both of them.